This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. There has been a bit of a rise in recent Tomb Raider stuff coming out. I believe there is a new game being worked on at Crystal Dynamics, but there isn't much information on that known right now. Then we have that Netflix show, which sadly despite some of its voice cast doesn't really look that good, which is honestly a shame because an actress like Hayley Atwell is one that should be bigger than she currently is. Then back on the game front, we had the remasters for the first 3 Tomb Raider games. Generally, this was very well received. Personally, I had the opportunity to try it out, and I really liked it. It kind of reminded me how the Halo visual remaster was done. You can toggle between the old and new graphics. I really love when games do this. I appreciate the effort put into the visual and audio upgrade, and by essentially layering it on top of the original, we have the original game along with the new optional new coat of paint. It's sort of like having the best of both worlds, but it doesn't seem like the Tomb Raider train is going to be ending anytime soon. There's going to be another remastered set, including the last of the PS1 games, and the very first PS2 game. Apparently that one is going to receive some more work, so it might end up being the definitive version of that game for fans, if the developers can get it right. But after the announcement for the second remastered set, it had me wondering, and based on what I saw on Twitter, I don't seem to be the only one. Could this mean a remastered set for the Legend Trilogy 2? So if there's going to be a remastered set for the Legends Trilogy, what would that even look like? The easy thing would be to include all 3 of the games and then add on the DLC levels that Underworld had. From my understanding, those DLC levels were only available on console. So if we saw that with a bump in resolution, frame rate, and then all that content, that sounds like a pretty decent set. My question would be, would the same developers that did these prior 2 remasters for Tomb Raider, would they provide a new coat of paint and provide a new visual upgrade option for players for these games? That would be going even further for this trilogy, because just on face value, the Legends games still look really good, especially the last one in the trilogy. If we got a visual upgrade and then we could toggle back and forth, I would love that. And it seems like something like this would be in the developer's wheelhouse. Plus, having some sort of collection would be a nice way to have all the games together across different sets of hardware. Actually, this year, we have seen one of the Legends games come back, with the very first one with Tomb Raider Legend. It came back in the form of being available through the PSN. Players can download and play the PS2 version of the game right now. It doesn't feature much in a way of new performance options, but it shows a few things. The big one being that Tomb Raider Legend has aged very well, to the point that I wish that we would see more games like this within the AAA market. More single-player story-driven action-adventure titles. Something that is short and sweet and satisfying. Not something that overstays its welcome by trying to provide the player with all of the gameplay. We need to get back to these types of games, ones that last about 6 to 10 hours for your first time through it, and then you can always go back for the secrets, extras, or just because you enjoyed the game the first time around and need some more of it. So yes, the game holds up really well. I was having a blast playing through it again. The one feature that I really liked from this version available on the PS4 and 5 is that it allows for a simple rewind feature, where at any time the player can rewind where they are and then just pick the game right back up. This can be really useful for some of the jumps and even the boss fights. It allows you to correct your mistakes rather quickly, and you don't need to sit through any of the loading either. While probably not the best version of the game that it could be, or even as a comeback, having it in some capacity is pretty nice, and I'm falling in love with it all over again. Now for a more personal side of things. If I had to guess, there is a large amount of fans that have started with the original PlayStation games, or they started with the recent run of the Survivor Trilogy for the Tomb Raider games. Usually when Tomb Raider is brought up, I don't see the Legend Trilogy being one of the ones discussed. For me, Legend is the title that I first think of when I think about Lara Croft. Legend was the first game within the series that I actually sat down and beat. I played some of the PlayStation games, but at the time I appreciated many aspects to them. I wasn't really in the mood for the more obscure elements that they had. Having said that, when Legend came around, I took one look and I just wanted to dive into that game. I love treasure hunting adventure titles, especially when it comes to films too. When I dove into this one, I couldn't stop playing it. It's not a particularly long title, but it is one that I could easily replay. Even playing the game again this year through the PSN re-release, I found myself just wanting to keep playing it over and over again. I have now gone through this title 3 times this year, and I still feel like I can go back for more. The mixture of jumping, shooting, and light puzzle solving all works well together. The story has a nice mixture as well, with the treasure hunting and some spy-like elements. There's globetrotting, and you hit some varied areas. The music is great. It allowed for some interesting elements with Lara's past, along with the current task at hand. Again, I had not really gone through any Tomb Raider titles fully up until this point, and as I found myself playing it, I was just really loving it and still do. This kind of turned into my Tomb Raider game, if that makes any sense. This was my true introduction into the series, and as such, it holds a special place for me. I actually haven't completed the trilogy, and it is something that I should do considering I really love Legend. So with there being more Tomb Raider stuff coming out and remasters of older titles being made and worked on, after the next remastered set is released outside of a new game, the next logical step would be to put some attention on the Legend trilogy. But the question does remain, if and how this is going to be done. Will we see something more along the lines with the prior remasters with a brand new coat of paint for the games? Or will it be more of a traditional remastered set with all of the content bundled into one package? I think either of the options would be good, but the best would be to have that brand new graphical option, and it would be really cool to toggle back and forth with it. And then after the Legends games have a chance to shine again, I wonder what this remaster company would work on next. They seem to have a true talent with this stuff, and I wouldn't mind them continuing their work on other games that could honestly benefit from those remastered treatments. Maybe they could try their hand at Medal of Honor, Time Splitters, or even the Bond games. I can only dream. So what are your thoughts on the Tomb Raider remasters? Would you like to see any of the Legend Trilogy titles come back, or be given the same treatment? What was your first Tomb Raider title? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.